This is a tutorial for the creative mode of the game widget. In the creative mode you can make your own maps and play them as custom games. In this tutorial you will learn some basic things about map making, how to place, rotate and scale structures, also how to work with, for example, switchable utilities and props, which I added to the creative mode some time ago. In the end there will also be some tips for creating maps. I would also like to refer to a tutorial from the widget player Candy Boba. His tutorial is also about the creative mode and maybe you will find some useful things there. This is chapter 1 where I explain some of the basic things. When starting creative mode you can choose from all official maps to build your map on. You can also load an already created map. There is one map, the interior map, which is totally blank. No surroundings, no background. The higher you go on the interior map, the brighter the map will be. Will you go more to the bottom of the map, it will become more darker and foggy. Here are the different tabs like Common Props, Secret Props, and Event Props, which you all can add to your collection during playing on official servers, and the tabs Utilities and Structures. On the right side you find some other tabs like New Map, Save Map, Load an already existing map, Disable Prop Physics. Why the tab Disable Prop Physics is so important I will explain in chapter 3. You can also respawn as Witch or Hunter or enter the fly mode. On the left side there are some tabs like Invite your friend, Settings and more. It is important to know that your saved maps are not saved in the Steam cloud. They are saved local on your computer, so make sure to make a backup from those from time to time. To submit a map to the Steam Workshop and make it accessible to all other players, you first have to save your map. Then you can click on the Submit button. You get asked now if you want to save your map. Click on Yes. Now you are in the photo modus. You need to make a photo of your map to submit the map. After making the photo, you can write something about your created map in the description. You can also change the visibility and now you can submit the map. On your Steam profile under Workshop Projects, You can add screenshots of your map and change also the description if you want. If you are not satisfied with the photo you took in the photo mode, you can edit the thumbnail of your photo. Therefore, you go to the widget files and there you will find a folder named thumbnails and your photo as a JPEG. You can edit the image here and update your workshop item. If your map is uploaded to the Steam Workshop and you make changes on the map, submit the map again. You can now also write something in the changelog. This is Chapter 2, the structures. Best for building is the fly mode. In the fly mode you are a flying luak. With T you can change between first and third person. You can switch from the fly mode back to the witch or the hunter, which is important to test things like ladders. I will come to the ladders a little bit later. In the fly mode you can pass every structure. Now let's place some structures from the Structure tab. If select a structure, you can place a structure with the left mouse button. You can rotate them with the mouse wheel, scale them with Shift and the mouse wheel, reset the scale with R, and place or edit with E, as you can also see on the right side of the screen. Q is the most important key now. You can place, rotate and scale with it. By clicking on the sphere, you can place the wall wherever you want. You can also choose the arrows to move the wall along the axis. By pressing Q again, you have these rounded arrows and you can rotate the wall now in every direction you want. You can enlarge the structure now in 3 directions or the structure completely. You can duplicate your structure easy by first clicking on the sphere, then Ctrl and left mouse button. Here I also want to explain the group selection. You can select a whole group of structures, up to 25 structures at the same time. By clicking the first structure, press Shift and hold it, then click on all other structures you want to move, then click on the sphere to move them. You can also, by clicking on Q, rotate or enlarge the whole group. You can also duplicate whole groups, also up to 25 structures. Again, you select the first structure, press Shift and hold it, then press on all other structures and Ctrl to duplicate it. By clicking somewhere else, you unselect the group. There are some structures, most of the foregrounds, for example, you can scale them up and the texture will remain. That is sadly not possible with every structure. As you see here, when scaling up the wall, the texture also becomes bigger and looks not so nice as the floor, which remains in the default scale. If you duplicate a structure, for example a foreground, and move them along the axis, you always see this flickering of the floor. Just move the structure some pixel and the flickering will vanish. . Coming to the ladders. If placing a ladder, the ladder will not work. You can try that as a witch or a hunter. You have to adjust the angle in a position that the ladder is working. Whenever I create maps and place ladders, I immediately look if they are working or not. If you scale up some structures like stones or icicles, also the hitbox scales up, which sometimes lead to that it looks like you are running in an invisible wall. But it's just the hitbox from a nearby structure. But in case you need an invisible wall for your map you are creating, you also can use the eye structure because it's not textured at the bottom. Now coming to chapter 3, the props. Every prop you unlock on an official server just by transform into them is in your prop collection. In the prop collection tab you can choose them. You can also select the secret props and event props you found so far. At the moment there are no subtabs, but hopefully they are coming in a future update, because with more than 400 props it becomes confusing and it takes a long time to find a specific prop. If you select a prop, you see on the left side the information of the prop, like the scale and lots of other things. Like for the structure, you can move, rotate or change the scale of the props with Q. Also the group selection works for props. You can also duplicate the prop with Ctrl and left mouse button and also duplicate the whole group of props. For props you can change the physical state they are in. You can change between physical or static by pressing 1 on your keyboard, with 2 between awake and sleep. Physical and awake is the prop you know from official servers. The props are moving if hit. If set to static and awake or static and sleep, the prop cannot be moved. If set to physical and sleep, you can place the prop wherever you want. It stays in the position as it is until it gets a hit. In all cases, the witch can transform into the prop. Here I want to explain why the Disable Physics tab is so important. If you have placed a lot of props on structures on your map and select the structure, all the props will fall through it. To prevent that, I can just recommend to place all structures first and the props at the end, and also disable physics as the prop stays in their position. Here we come to Chapter 4, the Utilities. In the Utility tab, you have different utilities like the spawn points for Hunter and Witches, switches, I will come to that in Chapter 5, and light, different spring pads, switchable doors, a green screen and the collision wall. Also the non-switchable hunter blocking doors. Don't forget to close your hunter spawn with a hunter blocking door. There are different types of spring pads. The spring pad is non-permanent. It will vanish after use. The Go spring pad and the Jump shroom are permanent. With Q you can also move or rotate them but not enlarge them. The collision wall represents the border of your map. No witch or hunter nor prop can go through it. Therefore, it is important, after placing the collision wall, to check if there are some small holes where a prop can fit through. Now we are coming to Chapter 5, the Switchable Utilities. We are again in the Utility tab. By clicking here, it shows only the switchable utilities like lever, pressure plate, switch and lights, and also the switchable hunter blocking doors. Let's connect some switches to the doors. Select the lever and click Shift for group selection. Then click on the door. Now you see on the right side of the screen that you connect the lever with the door with button 4. With 3 you toggle the door. You can remove the lever from the door with 5 and the lever can break after use with 6. You can see if the lever, pressure plate or switch is connected to the door by the arrows. The switch works similar to the lever. You can of course move the whole group, door and switch, but you can also put the switch wherever you want on the map. Now the witch or hunter can open the door while interact with the lever. If a pressure plate is connected to a door, the door will open as long as someone stands on the pressure plate. The switch works similar to the lever. It is also possible to put light on your map that it looks even more nice, but it would also reduce the performance. After selecting the light, you see on the right side of the screen lots of information. With 1 on your keyboard, you can change the color of the light. With the mouse wheel, you change the brightness. With 3, you can toggle. You can also connect lever, pressure plate, or switch to the lights. With Q, of course, you can also enlarge the light. And here's Chapter 6, Switchable Structures. As you see here, at the moment there are no switchable structures. This is Chapter 7, the Switchable Props. Here you can see all switchable props, like candles, the cannon, all instruments, pumpkins, lanterns, mushrooms and more. Also some of the secret props are switchable, but no event props. With 3 you can toggle the props. You can connect these props to the lever, pressure plate, the switch, like you can connect the switchable doors. And as I mentioned before, you can place the switch wherever you want on the map. Also, the instruments are switchable. so you can make some kind of orchestra. And here I give you an example of a map with many switches and switchable props. And here is the orchestra. This is the last chapter, chapter 8, with some general tips. If you make your environment and place structures, here for example some rocks, they all look the same. Rotate them so that it looks not that similar. But nevertheless, the rock wall looks a little bit boring, so you can place grass, palm bushes, the tree as a bush, in the wall and also the top of a palm. What you can also make, in case you make a cave, enlarge the grass and put it upside down under the ceiling. What you also need to know is that all rocks are ice rocks on the ice day layout or on the Fiskestedt layout. Structures and also props can be used for other things than their original purpose. Here I made a dragon head from the ritual stones, for example. If set the prop to static, you can use them as structures as you see here. Also, don't hesitate to merge structures into something new. At the moment there is no water in creative mode, but there are two possibilities to make the illusion of water. First is to place the ice structure so that it seems that it is water, or you take the blue cloth. For smoke on the surface you can use the chimney, which physical state is set to static under the surface of the water. In creative mode you can also build huge maps. You can build your map behind the borders of the map. You can also use carpets not as carpets. They look like solid but they have no hitbox, so they are good for some kind of hiding mechanics as you see here. If you want to play one of the three common game modes, mobification, hide and seek and hunt a hack, there should be not many empty areas on the map, which always needs a place to hide. Now we come to an end. Lots of thanks to Barrel Roll Games for this amazing game. If you all who watch the tutorial now not own the game already, buy it on Steam. Or if you have friends who don't own the game, tell them from Widget. Thanks a lot to the Widget player HGBF for help with this tutorial. He's also a great map creator. Check out his special map Switch Calculator, Ice Death One and some others. Thanks Lady Tane for acting.